If you enjoy listening to inspirational stories from people just like us, facing the fear and doing it anyway, then you're in the right place. My name is Claire Hill, and this is the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Hello, this is episode 22. I wish I was recording this yesterday. It's the 23rd today, but imagine if it was episode 22 being recorded. Imagine I'm recording it on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022, and it is 22:22 in the evening. It's not, it's 4:30 on a Wednesday afternoon, but one of my friends, one of my best friends, had her baby yesterday. What a magic number to have a baby. I'm buzzing, absolutely buzzing, because I got a bit serious then. So today's Thursday, if you're listening today. Tomorrow, I open the doors for you to sign up to the Vivid Club membership. If you're a small business CEO, even if, to be fair, you're a human being and you just want a bit more energy in your life, a bit more warrior energy, you want a bit more control with your planning, your strategy, and you want to make more money, because ultimately everyone wants to earn, sustain, and grow their profits or their bank accounts if you've got a normal job. And this is where you need to come. You need to come to the Vivid Club, because I know I'm banging on about it quite a lot. I'm going to bang on about it quite a lot, because do you know what? I'm just going to give myself a little pat on the back, because I'm working really hard for everybody who this is going to benefit. I'm just so proud. I'm so proud of what it's going to become already, even though it's not there yet, but it will be. I'm proud of the 17 women in there already who have done the master lessons this year so far, who are just coming on leaps and bounds. I keep getting a bit tearful because I'm so proud of them all. I'm not saying that in a patronizing way, by the way, in a peer, just proud. I'm just so proud. It's just a group of cheerleading warriors. Everyone has got each other's backs. We all want everyone to win, and everyone feels so much more powerful because of what the strategies and the tools, and they're creating their warrior energy. They just feel on top of the world, and I'm just so proud of them all. And you can have all of that too if you sign up on Friday, tomorrow, to the Vivid Club. This month only is £23 a month, or £230 for the year. And that is the price that you will pay for the length of your subscription if you don't cancel. Next month, in March, it will go up to £32. And that's the price it's going to be. I don't see it getting more than that, because I appreciate that we're building our income, aren't we? And you need to invest that £23 or £32 a month every month to build that income. Remember, it takes a village. And there's a reason why right at this moment you're listening to this. Maybe you need that support, because I've created this, because I am creating it, because it's what I needed. So I'm buzzing. I'm so excited. I'm surviving on hardly any sleep, because I decided on Sunday to create a brand new website for it. But it needs it. It needs that element of wonderful members area, as well as the Facebook group. I didn't want it to just be the Facebook group. I wanted to push myself to create the most amazing community. And this community is going to be amazing. There's going to be mini trainings every week. So the trainings that you can just watch, it clicks, you do the activity, done. Not this like where you sit down and you have to have all this brain space. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be very easy training that you can implement the next day. There's going to be monthly content workshops where we come together and map out the structure of our content for the month, content ideas, real ideas. There's going to be real trainings. There's going to be lots of... I've just got distracted because my computer said that something to do with my new printer. Now that's been a bone of contention, this bloody printer, for a while, but I've got a new one. And I'm just looking at you, printer. You're going to do me all right, aren't you? I know you are. Look at you. You are actually quite beautiful. Anyway, I digress. So the mini trainings, I'm going to actually do trainings on reels and stories and content ideas around stories and your TikTok. I'm going to have experts coming into the group. We're going to look at Pinterest strategy. We're going to look at newsletter. We're going to look at, gore blimey, loads of all of that stuff. That's just to do with the content monthly workshops. We're also going to have group coaching workshops. So it's going to be like the opportunity to just come and say, look, I've got this real issue and we can work it out together. And the opportunity for one-to-one coaching. The best thing about these 2 monthly events is that there are going to be 2 opportunities to access it, because I don't like missing out on a live. And maybe in the morning I'm actually at my day job and I can't get to it, or that's when I need to do my work, or I don't have childcare and I have to wait for the children to go to bed. So there's going to be a morning slot and an evening slot, even on the same day. And even if the topics are the same, even if the topics are the same, you can access both or either or. Totally up to you. And it's all up to your structure of your day and how your schedule is. So that's the events. We're going to have monthly challenges to try and draw in more income and embrace that fear a little bit more. And we're going to have networking events. I'm going to try and host a big party, like in person. My idea is that I'm going to hire a whole hotel, which is going to be amazing. Anything else? I think that's it. But if you want more information, the link, just Google the Vivid Club or find me on Instagram at the Vivid Club. I think there's an underscore in there actually, at the Vivid _club. But just come along. Well, tomorrow night, if you're listening to this Thursday morning, tonight at 8:00, I'm hosting a Zoom. So if you want access to that, just send me a message, an email, or register at the link on the website. There you go. Now I'm going to talk about the wonderful Liz. So Liz from The Circle is a really wonderful human being. She lives close to me, and I found out about her because of one of my friends who really adores being as eco as she can. And so I invited Liz on to talking on the podcast because I was just really interested in the work that she does. And she's a really blinding woman. I really, really like her. And we talked about things that you can implement very easily into your home and what you need to consider when you want to be more eco-aware. And yeah, she's just got a really wonderful personality. So I hope you enjoy the podcast. Remember to tell your friends about it, and also to rate and review if you can. Well, of course you can, because you're probably looking on your phone, aren't you? You know, what's stopping you from just giving me a few stars? Is that too cheeky? I've said it now and I'm not editing that out. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening. Honestly, it means the world. And yeah, I'm just so grateful. So yeah, enjoy the episode. Hello, Liz.
Hey, how are you?
I'm really good. Hello. I'm really pleased to have you, even though I was saying hello millions of times. I'm really pleased to have you here. You live around the corner, basically. So it's really nice to have a local girl on the podcast.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. I feel like I already know you because I see you on Instagram all the time, and then I'm chatting to you and I'm like, I've never actually chatted to you before, but nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. And now I think that's it. That's the wonder of Instagram, isn't it? That you can get to know somebody so quite well, really, through watching someone's stories. So what's your name? Where do you come from? And what do you do?
So my name is Liz. I live in Rainham, and one of the things that I do is run something called the Circle Refill Hub, which is a local plastic-free refillery just about 5 minutes up the road from you.
Yeah. And how did that all begin?
So it started in lockdown, really. So I've always been quite kind of environmentally conscious, and I guess kind of lockdown allowed me to almost kind of come out, be out and proud of an eco hippie, I guess. And I wanted to do this. I wanted to be more sustainable. That kind of niggling guilt was always there, saying, I need to be doing more. But in the cold light of day, I just couldn't. The nearest refill hub, I think at the time, was in Tunbridge or Canterbury, which is a good kind of, 45-minute to an hour drive away. And I wasn't going to drive to kind of get refill bits. It was just unrealistic. So combined with a couple of other things I was doing at the time as well, I was like, well, if I want it, I wonder if other people want to do it too. So in the summer of the first lockdown, never know what the years are, it's just time is referred to in lockdowns at the minute. 2020, I guess, I think. I did a little trial. So I just put a pilot out on the community page and just said, does anyone fancy trying this? Thinking that actually there'd be maybe 5 or 6 6 of us that would buy a barrel, and then we'd kind of share it, almost like a cooperative. And so I just said, come along if you fancy it. And we had 90 people, so the whole day was booked up back to back, because obviously we had to socially distance. The press turned up, 2 lots of the press turned up, there was waiting lists, we sold out of stuff, and I was like, oh shit, so people do want it. And the message was kind of constant, that people were saying, you know, they want to make this change, they want to be more sustainable and environmentally friendly, but if the infrastructure locally just isn't there, they can do their bits at home, but actually in the cold light of day, if there isn't anywhere that you can refill your bottles, then you can't refill your bottles with plastic. So you have to buy new every time. And so there was people that had kind of bought those refill packets, those they call themselves refills, but ultimately they're not recyclable. So they're still single-use plastic. They still end up in landfill or being burnt, because obviously they can't be cleaned and washed out and reused again. So these people were kind of trying, but they just couldn't actually do it. And, you know, the message was loud and clear saying, you know, I want to do more. I want to kind of, you know, do the best we can. Then the second lockdown kind of kicked my ass a little bit, because we were deemed, so soap wasn't considered an essential item, so we were forced to shut, which was a bit bonkers really, because I would have thought that soap firstly was an essential item, and then obviously we then had to close about 3 months in, I guess. So then we switched over to doing deliveries, which was a blessing really, because actually then there was people working from home who could just go click 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 on the website, and then twice a week we'd just drive around the local town and just fill up people's bottles on their doorstep. So suddenly these people that perhaps weren't consciously going out and looking for it were then able to take lockdown as a chance to say, well, go on then, I'll try it. And the products are then really nice, and they suddenly realise that they're not compromising, and they're not feeling dirty, or they're not getting as good a product. But actually it gave a real nice opportunity for us to reach more people who perhaps wouldn't necessarily have gone out seeking it, but just went, yeah, this is cool, I quite like this, and this makes me feel good, and we don't have to fill our trolley with so much plastic. And people have got these beautiful gin bottles that they've kind of put labels on and make their house all quirky and a bit different, and just allowed people to think differently. So that's kind of where it started. And then there was one more lockdown, wasn't there? So I mean, yeah, not the greatest time to start this for keeping yourself sane, but yeah, that's kind of how it all came about.
Wow. And so what kind of products, so the basis of the whole idea is that they collect their bottles, and it's like shampoo. What kind of stuff do people refill? Is it basically anything?
So yeah, so everything from kind of rinse aid, shampoo, conditioner, fabric conditioner, washing up liquids, soap, and then we do kind of cleaning vinegar, bicarb for people who want to make their own kind of concoctions, loo cleaner, hand and body lotion, and then we've got zero waste products as well. So we've got things like bamboo toothbrushes, and toothpaste in glass jars and things like that. So the whole concept is that instead of having to buy virgin plastic every time you go shopping, just putting more and more plastic bottles in your trolley, is that you keep hold of your bottles, you rinse them out, and then you just refill them with products instead of having to buy new plastic bottles every time. So the idea is to reduce your plastic consumption. So we're never going to be able to not have any plastic for the foreseeable future in our trolleys, but what we are going to try and do is just be able to be a bit more mindful about how we shop, and a bit more kind of practical about how we can reduce our single-use plastic. And it's been such a lovely experience, because it's been there about talking about reducing plastic, and why we need to reduce plastic, and I can talk a bit more about that later if you want me to. It's also been about looking at what's actually in the products that you buy. So the products that we sell are all kind of sustainably sourced, made in the UK. There's no animal derivatives in there. So I didn't realise, for example, like when you rub soap on your body, like traditional soap, it's slippery because it's got fat in it. So you're kind of rubbing animal fat on your body, and it's only then when you go, oh, it's gross, isn't it? But you kind of,
I sort of did know that, but the way that you've just
that's minging. I didn't know that, so I would be like, making myself all clean, and actually, like, in reality, that's pretty minging. And I'm not a vegan, but actually the thought of having some soap rubbing on my body that then at the end of it makes me feel clean and nice, and not like blah 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 blah. Anyway, so there's been a education for me and for other people as well, just talking about kind of what is actually in our products. You look at the back of your bottle of kind of, I don't want to use the product word, but good kind of normal washing up liquid that a lot of would buy. You look on the back and it says harmful to aquatic animals as we squirt it down our sink. And I think for years I've kind of been like thinking, kind of conscious of the plastic, but it's only then that I've kind of started to have a look at what's in it, and I'm like, I squeeze this down my drain and it's there glaringly obvious saying it's harmful to aquatic animals. And yeah, so that's been kind of a bit of a journey as well.
Either.
It's gross, isn't it? And
Bloody
then when
hell.
you then have your bottles as well, and there's some people that just bring back their kind of, the bottles that they got from Aldi or whatever, but actually some people have been beautifully creative with what they're using and actually finding things that have been in the family for a long time, or like little jugs or bottles that actually they're able to kind of repurpose and upcycle and kind of spray different colors and actually have these products on the side and be really proud of them, instead of kind of bundling these plastic away, and just kind of getting a sense of, instead of always throwing things away, find beauty in secondhand and holding on to things and finding another purpose for them. So it's been such a lovely journey, and I've loved watching other people doing it, because we've been on this journey together. I didn't know what I was doing when I first started.
Oh, amazing. I'm quite in awe of you, really, because it's the passion of starting it all up, but the amount of knowledge that you must hold in your brain about all of these things. Like, I thought I was environmentally conscious, and I am really against waste. So even with Vivid Wire, like, I try and save as much wire as I can if I can make something out of it.
Yeah.
And I collect it all up, and then I make just one-off pieces. And the fact that it's aluminium. But then I was thinking the other day, can you recycle aluminium? Because does it have to be like a certain amount, or does it, and then I started panicking. Then I started panicking the other day about my thermostat. And then I get this like, food waste. Like, I hate throwing food away. So I'll try and save dinners and stuff. But now I need to go and look at me washing up liquids, and but I think that's, I don't know whether this is normal, but I panic about things that, am I doing something that's really going to harm something? I want to look after our planet. And there was the teacher in me came out the other day. I was dropping Jackson off at his childminder, and there was these boys that were probably in year 7 or 8. They weren't old, they were young teenagers because of how they reacted to me. And this teacher came at me, and they were kicking this bottle down the road, plastic bottle. I was like, "You're going to pick that up or just kick it down the road?" And they just literally just froze and just looked down and carried on.
Once a teacher, always a teacher.
Yeah,
right?
it just literally came out. I had no control over it. And me and my lovely Louise, who's Jackson's childminder, was just looking at each other like, that's what they see plastic as, a plastic bottle as being, a football. Like, can they not see that they need to pick it up and put it in the bin? Like, little things like that.
Yeah.
But it's where it's sort of like you're going back to when you were saying about the refill hub. The local refill hub to you was Tunbridge Wells. Obviously that doesn't make sense in time, but also the fact that you're driving your car somewhere to go and be environmentally friendly. But I'm like, is there anything that you can't really, you have to rely on in plastics? Like, there's nothing in your shop that you can help with, if you know what I mean? Like, any kind of products that we normally would buy that you probably can't refill?
Well, this is the $1 million question. So I mean, I'm a small little shop. I'm literally like a hut on the side of my house. So my dream would be one day, and I will do it one day. I know I will do it one day.
You will do it. Yeah.
I will. Don't know how. I'm gonna rob my bank first. But one day I want it to be that you come there and you get your different pastas and you get your fresh veg, and you come along and you fill up your rice and you fill up, I don't know enough about everything, you see. Can you refill mascara, or do you just have to stop using mascara? Do you know what I mean? And this is where, like, you say you feel overwhelmed and you go, I think I'm doing something wrong. But that's been the real eye-opening thing. And we were chatting before, I suffer really badly from like eco anxiety. It scares the living shit out of me. Like, when it was 15 degrees the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, I catastrophized, proper apocalyptic style catastrophizing about how bad things are. And people have to bury their head in the sand because a lot of the time they just can't make these changes. And I'll give an example. So beautiful farm shop near us where you can go along and you can take your bags with you, and so you don't have any plastic. But there's a question: is that organic? Is that not organic? And I don't think it is organic, and I'm sure they won't mind me saying that. But actually, the other part of environmentalism, you should go and find organic food because the pesticides are killing the bees, blah, blah, blah. So then you go and go, right, I'm going to buy organic. So then you have to go to Tesco's to buy organic. Then you have to buy it in plastic. So then the question goes, which one of them two is better? And I don't know the answer to that. And everybody will have a different opinion. In the same way, we're not vegan, but we eat a lot of vegan food. So we get vegan butter. Vegan butter is in a plastic tub, whereas you can get butter that's just in kind of foil. What of those two is better? And I could go on and give a million different examples of this.
Oh my God, that's really blown my brain.
It blows my brain. And when I'm anxious, I just can't cope with it. And I spoke to a beautiful lady the other day who came to the shop, and she is a mega environmentalist. She knows all her shit. She's far more knowledgeable and experienced than I am. And she drives a old diesel car. So we're talking about electric cars and all that kind of stuff, and she's like, there's carbon captured in that car. So actually, if I go and buy new, then the carbon cost of manufacturing and transporting that car and the waste of that car, it doesn't make sense for me to dispose of it and buy new, because there's still a carbon capture in that car. And yet you have it, go and get an electric car. But actually, there's an argument for no, keep your diesel car if you're running it. But I don't know what's right or wrong. And so every element of it gives you another question, and nobody's right or wrong. I could give you 8 million of these examples. And every time you'd have somebody who goes, no, you should feed meat to the foxes to help them. And somebody who goes, no, you shouldn't buy meat. And that is kind of the $1 million question about everything to do with environmentalism, let alone plastic. But we can only do what we can do, can't we?
Yeah, you have blown my brain, and I think that I'm really glad I've got you on. So can we go back to, you just said feed the foxes for meat? Did you just say that?
So like put some, I think it's or kitten food or something down for hedgehogs to try and attract hedgehogs. They eat kitten food. In your kitten food is meat, and then you'll have somebody else that says, don't buy meat. Meat production is bad. It's got a big carbon footprint, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And you could have two people that would say you should be putting kitten food down for hedgehogs, and somebody who says absolutely don't buy plastic wrapped meat.
Right.
Full stop.
I just had a mild panic because I've got a little bit of an irrational fear about foxes, and what I thought you were suggesting is that we, to help the environment, we need to buy meat for foxes. And
no,
oh God,
no.
And she said fox, I was like, what? I can't have foxes in my garden.
Oh God. No, it's cool. Don't stress. We had a fox in our garden. It killed all 5 of our chickens on Saturday morning. So I'm like a bit scared of the old foxes myself as well. But my chickens were good because they used to eat loads of our food scraps, and they gave us eggs for free. But then we go and buy chicken pellets, and where does that come from? So you could forever, and I do drive myself mad. But you've got to feel that you're doing something, and you've got to be able to channel your energy and your worries, and be able to kind of vote with your pound, which one of my ex-colleagues would have said, you need to vote and say with your money where you want the world to be and how you want things to be different. And I'm not expecting to change the world with this business, and I know that being plastic free isn't the answer, and I know that 20 people a day coming and refilling their plastic bottles at the in the top of Rainham isn't going to change the world. But actually we need to feel that individually we can all make a difference, because otherwise it feels so terrifying and helpless and hopeless, and that's where apathy comes in, and people then just end up not feeling they can do anything.
But this is where this quote is so powerful, is like, done is better than perfect. So the fact that because otherwise you'll be sitting there going, oh well, I can't have an environmentally friendly house, so what's the point in starting? Well, that's not the point. It's about doing something, and what you're doing is so fantastic. I feel really ashamed that I haven't come to you yet.
No, don't. That's not what this is about.
No, it isn't, of course not. But it's sort of like being in that. I think that it's I have to convince my husband, because he will he has to have certain, like, what he wants for his shower gel and his shampoo and all of those things. And it's like, well, because I don't really care. but he would need, and then it's like, well, am I going there just for me and Jackson? Well, probably, yeah, I should. And, you know, and then it becomes, this is a thing in internally in the house, like we are saving up for solar panels, and because we Dan has wanted solar panels for like forever. Always.
Have you signed up to the solar panel sharing scheme? I signed up yesterday. I'll share the details.
Oh no! Oh,
it's a buying scheme. I'll share that with you.
Yes, please. I'll put it in the information for the podcast. But we really want to get the solar panels, because we want to go to just electric and not have gas anymore. And we are with Octopus Energy, who is totally renewable energy, and we're really excited. And then obviously the wholesale prices of gas going up, and it just really panicked me. And that's where this whole thermostat thing is. And I'm like, looking on the World Health Organization, and they're saying, you know, really you should just have 18-degree thermostat. I was like, I've had it at 21 forever. I thought 21 was good. I thought 25 was bad. And then so now I've made us like turn down the thermostat. And at first you know, and it's just such a simple thing, like turn it down 1 degree, but we all felt it. Now we don't feel it. And it's just like,
I'm going to
put it down another degree. He's not going to know, but it's sort of like, and I think it's hard, isn't it? Because when you are working so hard, like my husband works for our local council, he works his arse off. It is a job that doesn't get much thanks. And he's, you know, helping homeless people, and it is a bloody hard chore. And when he gets home, he just wants to be warm in his front room.
Yeah.
Like, go and get another jumper. I know you've got 3 on, I don't care. But then I also always think about the fact that I'm in, those of us that are privileged enough to have the brain space to even think about the environment should do something, because there are a lot of people out there, and it straight away makes me think about like my mum when I was little being on benefits, and it's literally hand to mouth, Lecky's running out on the meter, no gas, like the lights are going off and whatever, but there's no way that you can consider, well, what's best for me and my family? I need to feed them. That's what's best. So
if that comes wrapped in plastic and not organic and is costing 15p, you get it, right?
Absolutely. And that's where this whole that kind of idea of, you know, and then there's pressure, well, you need to be doing this, that and the other, the amount of pressure on families like that. But that's why then, well, I have got the brain space, so what can I do? You know, I
also think, sorry, go on.
No, you go.
I just think it's about, I think I came into this as well, kind of with this past belief that to be sustainable and eco-friendly, you need to be kind of privileged somehow or rich somehow. But actually, I work closely with an organisation called the Eco Hub in Rainham, which is run by a lady called Kaylee, and I help run it as well. And actually, a huge piece around like secondhand September, which they did, public transport, and actually these people who feel like, you know, oh, it's not for me or whatever else, are already doing some really cool stuff, not wasting, looking at getting secondhand uniforms, secondhand shoes. You know, that shouldn't be that's something for poor people. That's something that's awesome and should be celebrated. And actually, I guess we're getting there. But the fact that if you're buying, you know, an electric car and you've got the money to insulate your house, then great, crack on, it's brilliant. But actually, I don't think we should, and I don't think we can take away from the fact that not everybody can, as you say, but instead they're wearing their shoes out until they've got holes in. They're buying secondhand uniform, and that's still something to be celebrated and to recognise. And I don't think all the while we're saying, oh, you're vegan, but you had a foreign holiday, or, you know, you've got solar panels, but you don't recycle. I don't think it can't be like that, you know, it's a all or nothing, because then people don't have the confidence to give it a try in the first place, and they feel like it's for somebody else. So I do object when people are kind of saying, you know, they make judgment about people that aren't doing it perfectly, because I don't believe anybody's doing it perfectly, but we have to all feel enabled and safe and encouraged to be able to try and get it wrong. If we do get it wrong, that's cool too.
No, I love that, encouraged to try. And I think that's what this episode is all about, having something that you might change because of listening. So the other day you had on your Instagram, your weirdest things to do at home, like good for the environment. And that's where I read it, and it said, regrow your lettuce. And I've said to you before we started recording, lettuce has become my best friend recently because I'm gluten-free. I've got something up in my stomach and it makes me makes me really poorly. And so I miss out on duck pancakes, wraps, fajitas, all the stuff. You can buy gluten-free, of course you can. It's not as good and it costs an arm and a leg. So I just discovered, I thought, well, what if I use like a little gem lettuce leaf? Works a treat as a taco, a duck wrap, a sandwich, hot dog roll, all those kinds of things.
Nice.
And then I saw regrow your lettuce. So I didn't even know this could happen.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
I mean, I'm not proclaiming to be an expert in this whatsoever, but I've just seen it where I've just followed other people doing cool stuff. So literally the end bit, so the bit where you'd kind of consider that they chop it off, put it in a dish of water, and then it just starts sprouting from the middle. And then I guess you can transplant it into a pot and start growing your own. Same with carrots and God, probably all sorts of stuff. Probably people are screaming at the
carrots.
Yeah, so cut the top bit off that, and then it just sprouts from the top. It's a cool thing to do with kids, and it's free food, I guess, isn't it? And again, coming back to that conversation that you have about people who are on low income, to feel enabled and empowered, and to know that that's an option to create your own free food, but you just need to feel that it's for you. You're capable and able of doing that.
Free food. That's amazing. Like, especially, I mean, if you've got a garden, obviously, if you haven't, then maybe like a window box. I mean, I know it's hard if you're in a flat or something like that without any outdoor space, but there's no reason I can't. I should have like a little vivid farm outside the window of me.
Vivid greenhouse.
Little vivid greenhouse. Make my little lettuces. I love that. What's your like top things for people to do that you actually enjoy doing because they're so good for the planet, but they're so weird?
Oh God, that's a really good question. I mean, I have got a bit paranoid about waste, I have to say, because I do get so anxious. We inherited, well, we've just moved. We've got a big garden, which we kind of let grow pretty wild this summer. So not cutting it, just seeing what grows. And actually some of the stuff that's just sitting there in the seed beds is really, really interesting. So we would just sit out in the garden and we'd see kind of clovers and little flowers grow in and just watching the bees kind of take to it. Whereas otherwise I'd have just mowed it off and had this flat lawn. And then at the end of the summer, I mean, we've killed our mower and our strimmer. So that's then another issue because I let the grass grow so long and then killed my lawnmower. So now I've got an issue because then I have to buy new because I've killed it because I grew my grass too long. So that's that constant thing where you go, okay, brilliant. You grew your grass long. Well done, Liz, have a medal. But actually you've knackered your lawnmower. So that's no good, is it? But anyway, taking that to one side, we then had loads of kind of hay at the end of the summer from this big long grass. Wow. So before our chickens got killed, we were using that as hay for the chickens, but also kind of like one of the people who were kind of part of the hub was encouraging to just put it down like in amongst your trees and stuff, and then you suddenly find that like I don't want to talk about foxes, that's a terrible
no, you're fine, you can talk about
little animals taking it and stuff. So like you've then suddenly got this kind of cycle that you're creating, your long grass that you then just shove underneath your bushes, and then all of a sudden that's then creating a home for nature, and you just create less waste. And then it's really nice from the kids' point of view because you start to go, come on, let's grab this, let's go and shove this over here and build log piles and then lift up the logs and stuff. So in creating waste, it's creating a really nice kind of teaching point for the kids. And it's a really, our garden isn't for everybody. Some people are coming to be absolutely bloody mortified by our garden, but I love it. I love that it's messy and it's a bit upside down and it's just kind of creating habitats and stuff. And yeah, I would kind of suggest just doing that, just trying to see every time you go to throw it out, is there anything I could do with it, and could any craft places make use of it, and just see what you can manage to not throw away. It's a bit addictive once you know that everything you buy you're going to try and find a home for without throwing away. There was quite a nice thing I shared on Instagram this morning, which is about saying like try and buy stuff with a view of if you were getting a tattoo, which I know is a bit like extreme, but like the kind of mindful decision making as if you were going to get a tattoo when you buy something, just being like, right, how is it made, how was it brought to me, what am I going to do with it, what happens when I'm done with it, where does it kind of get sent to. And sometimes you might go, yeah, but that's cool, I just need to get it anyway, and then get it, right, and nobody's going to kill anybody for it. But just that kind of conscious thought of being just that bit more mindful about buying things and where it ends up once you've kind of used it, and where was it made? Was it kind of imported across the world and, I don't know, shrink wrapped in plastic and mined out of wherever? Just, I don't think there's any perfect solution. It's just about being a bit more mindful, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. This makes it, I just think it is, I've always want to do, but I just want to do more. I do want to do more. And it's getting into that mindset of feeling uncomfortable with the extra time that you have to put in, but the reward, I think, pays off. And it's
or start with things that don't take more time. Whether it's just if you're going to buy something, kind of going through that process just in your head, I guess, becomes quicker. But I guess to begin with, you are right, it takes up that bit more brain space, doesn't it, just to think about what it is you're buying or what you're doing or whatever.
I think it is brain space though for people's challenging for people, because you like, even for just if there's a lot of work for me to go on and then I have to think, I've got to do the shopping, like, I want to go, and I would go more to places where I don't have to think about the shrink wrap, but I'm running a business, and I've got to
busy
get
life.
on with it, and it's busy life. And especially I think, especially when I was a teacher, I did not have any time to do anything. Like, your basic needs aren't even met. And there are some people probably listening to this that literally are running themselves ragged, and then they're like, and I've got to do that as well.
And it becomes so big, doesn't it, that actually you're better off just going, I can't do that, it's just too big and it's over there. And I totally get that. And I think if you haven't even got the infrastructure in place, you take the the circle away, then you just, I'm not saying I can solve it, but you need more of that kind of thing, so it becomes second nature. So that if you do just nip to Aldi, that actually you could be doing refilling in Aldi. It'd be nice if one day I was out of business, because actually it's so mainstream and so normal that you just go and get your refills, and it shouldn't be so niche and so weird. It should be that it's ingrained in everything, but you need that infrastructure around you to allow that to be possible.
What do you think are the most important things that you could do that make a difference, but maybe, I suppose, like, thinking about what you buy in, is there anything else, does putting the thermostat down a degree make much of a difference? Stuff like that.
I think that, there's I can't think what the example is, but kind of, I've shared it a million times on mine that says, it's only one plastic bottle said 7 billion people. And I think that's the thing, that you turn the thermostat down 1 degree, but if everybody does that, that's down by 7 billion degrees. I don't know if that's the right maths, but you get my kind of concept. I don't think we've turned down by 7 billion degrees. And I guess just being proud and comfortable with the fact that each of those little changes, you're going to turn it down, and for a few days you might feel a bit cold and then you feel a bit better. But it's that kind of faith that together it's going to be impactful. Because in that moment it just isn't. For you, from your point of view, you just feel less warm, or you just feel more inconvenienced, or you feel like the time is just, you only necessarily in that moment just see that you've got an extra job to do. And I totally get that. And that's where that kind of feeling that you're kind of in a community of people who really care and want to make a difference and share ideas and tips. So I guess if you're looking at doing kind of easy switchy stuff, I guess just having that thought around, where's this going to go? So I think it was David Attenborough's bit of advice. He got asked exactly that same question, and he said, just don't waste, was kind of his bit of advice, which I guess comes from everything from what you buy, because you're considering about what it looks like when you waste. So I end up with a load of jars, so coffee jars and whatever else. And then I've just put them out on the community page to say, does anyone want these? And 9 times out of 10, well, no, actually 10 times out of 10, because I've never had to throw them away. You'll have a lady who makes beautiful vases with them, or you have somebody who uses them for kind of creative things, or wants them for a wedding. And so there's just, I guess, trying to just work out ways that mean that waste can be reduced, because in turn that means that manufacturing and production therefore is reduced as well. So that kind of thinking about that endpoint is probably going to help the whole process if you have to kind of think about one thing.
Amazing. I'm going to ask, obviously everybody that comes on, I always ask them about this. What would you love to know? But I would love to hear sort of like what you would tell yourself as a business owner 10 years ago, or what you know now that you wish you'd known 10 years ago, but also in regards to being more eco and looking after our planet, what you wish you'd known 10 years ago as well.
10 years ago, yeah, that's a really good question, actually.
So you've got, I'm being a bit tough actually, because you've got like two, and normally everyone just has one.
That's cool. No, that's fine. So I guess, I mean, eco-wise, you can only ever, you can't beat yourself up about what you didn't know, right? And 10 years ago, I didn't know this. And could I have gone and found out? Yeah, probably could. But you can't even go and find out what you don't know, you don't know. And, you know, I'm not going to go back and beat myself up for not knowing and having it in my consciousness. But, you know, God, there's so much I could have done 10 years ago differently, and just viewing things through the lens of, you know, being more sustainable. So I don't know really, because I didn't know it then and I know it now. And I guess once you know it, I guess you've got a responsibility to try and make some changes. But if you don't know it and it hasn't come to your consciousness, then
you don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
And you can't beat yourself up, and people can't beat themselves up about what they haven't done, because we've only got today to know different and do different. And even if we don't do different today, if the circumstances aren't right, then so be it. And I guess, you know, to be kind to ourselves and understand that we will do what we can when we know, but if you don't know, you don't know. But I guess 10 years ago, I was a very different person 10 years ago, very different person. And I think probably 10 years ago, I'd have said, there's somebody else that's going to do this, or waited for permission to go, could you do this, please? And this is how I need you to do it. And I would have been that person that would have said, yeah, not me, someone proper will do this. I'll wait for the kind of grown up in the room to come and step forward and do it. And I think that's what, there's kind of a couple of like epiphany moments, I guess, where I've just eventually just gone, no, fuck it, let's just do it. What's the worst that can happen? And I think since stepping into like the small business world, you imagine everyone else has got their shit together and knows what they're talking about. And actually you then open that door and everybody is like paddling their feet underneath, just hoping for the best. And going, no, I don't know either. I've joined a kind of zero waste network and everybody's asking the same questions as me. And I guess that would be my advice to myself 10 years ago, is going, please don't believe the bullshit that you see. Like, everybody is flapping away underneath, learning on their feet. Nobody comes into this world knowing how to run a business.
No.
Give it a go, and if it fails, right? But you've got nothing to lose by trying. And everybody's been so beautiful and wonderful and kind and generous and so inspirational as they've come and started their journey with me. And I think I would have thought I needed to know everything, and actually by not knowing everything, you enable and empower other people to go, Liz, you should try this, and I'll go, cool, that's fine, rather than feeling like you need to be the expert. I just don't think it would have worked had I pretended I'm some expert that I'm not, because I'm quite clearly not. But it means that I'm learning, other people are learning, and it feels safe and comfortable for people who perhaps are just dipping their toe in the water, but actually it feels really massive and scary.
If anyone has ever started a business because they feel like absolutely perfectly ready, it's probably, they've probably missed the boat.
Yeah, probably right. You're probably right. Yeah.
I've never waited, and it's bloody so scary, but I panic more that I'm going to miss out on an opportunity. So just get on with it. But yeah, I'm so glad you've done it. And it's so lovely to hear how passionate you are about the change, and that in my local community, there's a bunch of you doing it. And, you've met up at the pub last night. And I think that's just amazing.
Come along. The first Monday of every month, come to Manor Farm and just talk eco stuff with loads of geeks. They're not even geeks, they're just really nice.
Yeah, but geeks rule the world. So
yeah,
that's what's going to change. And this is the thing, isn't it? It's just helping. I think it's helping people find the room in their brain, and then knowing that they can do it. And it is just daily little tweaks, isn't it? It does not take any brain space to turn your thermostat down by a degree. It really doesn't. Maybe you need to bring a jumper downstairs, and that's it. You know, like
that's totally it. And like, just see that as a win, and don't wait until you're perfect and you've got solar panels on your roof and an electric car and all your bottles are completely glass and you're getting them from wherever. Like, don't wait for that moment. Just feel comfortable and empowered with making those little changes, those little switches. Hand something on to somebody if you're otherwise going to throw it in the bin. Have a think about those little bits, and every single one of them is a win. And then if next time you just chuck it in the bin and you've got, you know, it doesn't go right, don't think that's it, I've lost it. Just, that's life, isn't it? Just forgive yourself, move on, try something different next time. And it gets a bit addictive after a while, and then you kind of see you know, what else, what's next, that kind of stuff. Like that shelf just behind me, that's like an old scaffold board, and these are like secondhand. And so you start to try and find cool stuff and find the love in secondhand stuff. And yeah, it gets a bit addictive, but don't beat yourself up is essentially what I'm probably getting at if you're not doing it right.
Yeah, I love that. I've got loads of shelves made out of scaffolding boards all over my house. I love them.
Have you? Yeah, nice, aren't they?
Yeah, I love them. They're like deep shelf. I like a deep shelf. Oh, thank you so much, Liz, for coming on, and I really appreciate it. So where can people find you?
So I'm on Instagram, which is _circle_Rainham, Facebook, the Circle Refill Hub, or I've got a website which is the circlerefill.com.
Amazing.
So book an appointment or just drop us a message and then come along and give it a try. I'll help you if you've never done it before. If you haven't got any bottles, I've got spare bottles you can use, or bring your own. And yeah, it's a nice experience. Or you can drop and collect, or do it however you need to do, or make sure it's nice and easy for people with busy lives as well.
Oh, so, and if you're not local to our wonderful area, Google your local refill hub and then
go give them some love.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Liz.
No worries. So nice to speak to you, and thanks for all you're doing.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast, written, produced and hosted by Claire Hill, and music has been composed by my brother, Bill Vidler.